You haven't seen me with these on years, haven't you, folks? I don't break these out all that often. But having said that, I kind of have to. Under normal conditions, I wouldn't, unless it was a certain bitch, a certain manipulative, narcissistic shrew who basically got my favorite voice actor pink slipped, and this is strictly for context, because she felt unbearably guilty for actually aiding and abetting a known pedophile when she worked with another company out in Chicago before going to Los Angeles in 2017, and lionizing said pedo, who has been 6 feet under since January of 2014. I wouldn't do this sort of thing. I wouldn't do anything like this anymore. But in this case, I'm not trying to attack the content creator in question. Oh, sure, I've called him out, but not to the sense of wanting him dead. I just want him to get some fucking help. Help with his habit. The content creator is at Awful Coaching. 230,000 subscribers. Predominantly goes on tirades on how much an NBA team can screw up defense. I mean, back in 22 and 23 and 24, he would do positive outlooks on these sorts of things. Things and occasions he would calculate offensive and defensive mistakes for both teams. But lately, he's just gone into a rigid, stale, and rather predictable habit of cursing out the fan base, cursing out the owners, cursing out the coaches, cursing out the players for screwing up defense, calling them criminals, terrorists, what have you. Some find it funny, but I have found it unbearably petulant, redundant, Nanickian, and kind of sad, to be perfectly honest. Don't get me wrong, my channel doesn't do basketball. And I'm not a guy who is overly pedant about attention to detail context. I.e., I'm not breaking down, when it comes to my sport, that being baseball, I'm not breaking down every pitch to tell you where a pitcher screwed up or calling out a manager for a reckless, dim-witted, anti-analytical bullpen gamble on a regular basis. Nor am I calling out a team for its lack of discipline at the plate when they're at bat on a regular basis. True, I'm hot-headed. I suffer from autism. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist myself, and a toxic one at that. But at least I'm trying to regulate it, and I'm honest about it. Donald is the same way, but the difference is he is constant with it to a point where people just tune him out. Now, you think I'm supporting this behavior of his? I'm not. I'm trying to tell you this here and now, Donald. What you're doing is pushing the boundary of toxic perfectionism. And it showcases not only your overkill pedancy, your redundancy with your content instead of doing the on off positive critique of a defense or an offense. You've constantly doubled down, gone down this rigid path, making your content, to me at least, stagnant. Tell me, do you suffer from severe levels of atelophobia, the fear of imperfections? And for those who don't know what this is, atelophobia. Oh, Atelophobia is the fear of imperfection. In his case, what he runs through a high school basketball coach's mindset is if everything goes right, it's perfect. If it goes wrong, even if you do most of the shit right defensively, he's gonna curse up a storm. And can a telephobia be projected towards others? You're probably asking me, but Mets, you're just pointing out a telephobia of towards the self. You're not pointing it out towards others. Well, here's the thing. Atelophobia can also be projected towards other people, often manifesting as critical, high standard, or demanding behaviors in relationships, work, parenting, or parenting. Individuals with a telephobia may also project their own intense atychiophobia, or the fear of failure, and need for protection on others, causing them to judge others' minor mistakes or hold them har- harshly, or hold them to incredibly unrealistic standards. Source of projection often stems from an deeply ingrained personal fear of not being good enough, which mistakenly attribute to or expect from those around them. In a parenting and workplace, a person with a telephobia might, for instance, focus entirely on 3% of a child missed on their test rather on the 97% correct, fixing on minor errors in a colleague's work and projecting their anxiety about their individual's incompetence, about their coworkers' incompetence. And in relationships, being seen as imperfect as a defense mechanism to protect the fear or by constantly being criticized by partners or friends' imperfections. Yeah, Donald, I've got you down to a T, Buster. I mean, let the teams play the way they're accustomed to, not the way you want them to. Sure, the fundamentals are beneficial, but when you preach the fundamentals over and over and over again and curse up a storm, you're basically using them like a club. They're meant wielding them like a club. They're meant to be used as a blade. A slice here, a little cut there. I mean, it also shows you suffer from heavy narcissism, thinking you're better than the coaches in the NBA. I mean, then again, that's probably the reason you never got out of the high school ranks as a coach. And if you were to be offered a job for, let's say, any of the teams in your area, whether it be the Chicago Bulls, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, the Minnesota Timberwolves, or the Milwaukee Bucks, given how often you criticize every team across the board and call their owners scumbags, their fans shit and terrorists, the owners criminals, the players dumbasses, especially over the better part of the last year or so, how do you justify that? How can you justify your use of the fundamentals as a quality to give you the job? The answer, you can't. I'm sure not many of these coaches are on social media. Many of the owners are on social media, that frequently, let alone here on YouTube. But even if they were, they would blackball you from getting a job because of how often you curse them out. I mean, true, I did it too with the Knicks, but two in basketball. But in my case, I only had one target, Tom Thibodeau, because of how rigid he was in his lack of offensive adaptability. I didn't care that he usually produced GOAT tier defenses. Sure, I played youth basketball when I was about 10 years old at a YMCA. I was a digger, a defensive tool. Not once did I score a bucket in New York City. It often puzzles me, Donald. Why are you such a lunatic? Why you're devolving to such a lunatic? I mean, like I said in my last video, you're devolving into the same issue that my father has. Early onset of Alzheimer's because you get so angry and focus so rigidly on one thing that it's causing you to get shoot a lot of toxic chemicals into your brain, rotting your brain cells. My dad had that same issue. That when he got the early onset diagnosis in 2017, you know what he did? Instead of admitting, "Oh shit, I've got to retire," when I'm pushing myself mentally too much. You know what he did? He doubled down. He instead didn't take it seriously, covered it up, and it wouldn't be until 3 years later when my mother got hold of his medical records that she found out about the diagnosis. And 2 years later, he got fired from his job as a Mack truck salesman. Now he's sitting in a nursing home with at best stage two, laying in the stage three Alzheimer's, and at worst, early to mid level stage three. And I'll admit, I've done the same sorts of tirades with baseball, but I'm starting to learn to let go of that bit. When it comes to sports this year, I'm not even bothering to ask the Almighty for help for my teams. I'm just letting the chips fall wherever they fall. You think a bunch of NBA teams are going to listen to you because you're a former high school coach? No. Do I think you're presuming me as a stalker fan, which I am not, and taking me for a conjurer of cheap tricks who's trying to rob you of some credit? No, more than likely. Am I trying to rob you? No. Am I trying to help you and tell you to let go of your fetish? Yes. I mean, yesterday on X, I asked if you would be willing to throw me a bone and do a positive breakdown on how the Knicks clamped down on the Celtics yesterday. But nope, you did the opposite. You doubled down on your ego and stubbornness and basically went off about 4 hours ago, about 6 hours ago, on how badly the Celtics defense performed against the Knicks. Because you don't want to give Mike Brown credit. And I'll agree, if the Knicks do win the title, the NBA title this year, it would be done in spite of Mike Brown, not because of him. You haven't bothered talking about how Charles Lee has turned the Hornets around over this 9-game winning streak. Don't know if it'll be 10 after the night with Detroit. I'm hoping, but I'm going to let the chips fall where they land, wherever they're going to fall. And the few times in the past year and a half you have praised anybody, it's Luca, LeBron, Wemby, on occasion, Tatum and Brown, and Brown and Tatum, the latter of which before the Achilles rip. And when he is remotely competent, Bronny. All I'm saying, Donald, is you gotta let it go. Confront your narcissism, confront your pedantic nature, and confront and overcome your atelophobia. That's it. No more and no less. And if you want to do a live stream about me calling you out on this, be my guest. I don't have many subs. 777 to be exact. I don't get monetized on YouTube because I don't have enough watch hours because of how much time off I took in 2024 and 2025. I'm trying to pick that back up here in 2026 for better or worse. Whether it's through game calls, whether it's through wrestling live reacts, one of which I got set up for tomorrow night, or what have you. Or even my wrestling prognostication show, the Mega Mets podcast with Mega Man and G. But what have you, Donald? The only reason you have over 240,000, nearly 240,000 subs is because people egg you on to constantly blow your stack. And you allow the game as it is today to get under your skin. And I'm not just including the NBA. I'm also including the NBA, the NCAA, both genders, and the WNBA. You may not like what I'm saying, Mr. Hazeman, but at least I'm fucking honest about it. I'm being straight with you. And if you're gonna ask me who the hell do you think I am? Some kind of fucking psychiatrist? No, I don't have a degree in psychology. My associates is in this: applied sciences and industrial and electrical engineering technologies. And I find it kind of depressing that you let it get to you as badly as you do. It's no wonder Gilbert Arenas and others have called you out as a casual. Beyond that, I don't have much of a damn thing left to say. That's it for this. Comment, like, and subscribe. I'm Mets2128. Goodbye. Good night. Bang.